Small Business and Startup Stories DSM features conversations with small business owners who share both their victories and failures on their path to success. Small Business and Startup Stories DSM is produced by the Greater Des Moines Partnership. More tips and resources are available at dsmpartnership.com/smallbusiness. I'm your host, Mike Colwell. Caitlin, welcome to Startup Stories. Your company, Koloni, is a breath of fresh air in the world of dumping scooters, bicycles, and others rentables in urban environments. What is it that Koloni's doing that changes the game?
Yeah, so Koloni is very different. We come at it from the perspective of we want to partner with the community that we come into. We want to empower the people that live there, and we want to help people generate revenue. So as opposed to...
Yeah, so what does that mean? Take me through tactics. It sounds great. What does it mean tactically?
So tactically it means, hey, you live in Northwest Iowa and you want to bring bike share to your town. How does that work?
Right.
Most of these companies that exist out there, they're not going to touch you. Even Des Moines.
They don't know where Iowa is, let alone Northwest Iowa.
Sioux City, no way. Mason City, no way.
Yeah.
So they come to us and we put together a package that they can pay for either monthly or annually. Mm-hmm. And they deploy bikes, going to be scooters, smart lockers. They set the pricing that they want for anybody to ride. They can have memberships. It can be a private system. We've got a system down in Louisiana that Dow Chemical sponsored. Private system. You got a Dow email address. This is yours to ride.
Nice.
So we're there on the ground helping out the community. And with that, they bring in revenue and we bring in revenue.
Yeah, so speaking of that, how do you make money?
So we make money both on the monthly side for the hard good and then for the software as well.
Okay.
App-based system, back-end management that the community gets to log into and do, all of their pricing, their warranty repairs, everything, to just kind of juggle everything that's going on.
Which means you don't do all that.
That is correct.
Which is really nice for your business model.
Right.
So you're providing the hardware, quote unquote.
Yep. And
you're providing the infrastructure that allows them to manage it digitally.
Correct.
So I assume there's an app in the mix somewhere?
There's an app in the mix. There's a Koloni app. The great thing about our system is it's hard good agnostic. So if we find a scooter company that's better than the manufacturing partner that we currently have, we can move on to them.
Right.
Everything stays the same for our partner. Everything stays the same for the end user. They don't know the difference. We just know, hey, this is a better product and we can quickly roll it out.
Well, with all the changes in different devices, whether it's bikes, scooters, who knows what's next? Pogo sticks and unicycles? I don't know. But you can just you don't care. You're agnostic to all of it.
Kayaks, canoes.
Yeah, which is kind of cool with the water trail around here. We'll talk about that later. So if I owned a resort, let's say, and I want to add 30 rental bicycles and 2 lockers, and we'll talk about what the lockers in a minute, roughly, no hard numbers, but roughly, how much money am I talking about to get going?
To get up off the ground, probably a couple grand.
That's it.
To get you started. That's it.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice. And how long would it take me to get up and running from the day I said, I signed the contract?
From the day you sign the contract to us finishing your system in-house and then shipping it out to you, 2 to 3 weeks.
That is really fast.
Yes.
That is nice.
We have worked very hard over the last year to bring down our lead time to get products out the door quicker.
Which is a big deal because when anybody makes a decision these days, we're in the new economy right now. We were talking about raising capital the other day, and we were telling the people in the room, said, look, I know they said you've got 30 minutes for your pitch, but you've really got 20 seconds to get their attention or you're done.
Right.
Because nobody has an attention span anymore.
No, you're picking up your phone and you're like, okay, what's...
Yeah, the phones. I know, it's the worst thing. It's absolutely the worst thing for meetings. So you talk about a sharing community. One of the things I see as a real positive is the idea that anyone can set up a locker, for example, with, basketballs, and let people theoretically use them for free and only charge them if they don't return the ball.
Correct.
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So a church, a playground.
A playground, a church, a lot of cities are interested in it for that exact reason of, hey, if you're a resident in town, we can give you a code. There's no charge. You just have to scan it. We can still track who's using the basketball, who doesn't bring the basketball back. They can get charged that nominal fee
they get
for whatever they set, if they don't bring it back.
So that's what we call it. You call it the digital locker. What do you call it? I mean, what's your fancy name?
We're currently fighting right now of what the product name should be.
The trademark versus URL versus...
We call it the Smart Locker.
Smart Locker.
It's gone through a couple iterations. The Cube, the Play. I'm sure if you look at our marketing material, It's a different name depending on what it is, but right now we've settled on Smart Locker. So
I've
if
been
anybody
there.
has any suggestions,
Especially if you can get the trademark in the URL, right?
that's the main key.
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
So tell us more about what is it, because this is pretty compelling.
The Smart Locker I am incredibly excited about it. It is a device that you rent or can purchase.
Okay.
And with our management system that already exists, you can set up any device anything that you want, not a device, anything that you want to share in it. You're a apartment complex and you want to have tools available for people to use,
Cool.
and it's private.
Yeah.
And only those people can use it. You put that in there, you label it, or maybe you want to charge someone like, hey, why do I need a hammer drill? Like I use it 3 times a year.
Well, exactly.
What am I spending for? Why am I paying DeWalt a couple $100 for this when I don't need it?
So you could almost start a self-service tool rental company if you can
Yes.
figure out the liability.
Yeah.
Nice.
So anything can go into it. The user can set the pricing for it. They can label it. You walk up and, you can, if you have our app, you can go online, you can see like, oh, what's available right now in this locker. You want to go play basketball, you can see like, oh, this is checked out.
Interesting.
It's not there.
That's really fascinating. So what other types of items, you kind of talked about, but what other types of things are you thinking with Koloni for rentals? What else do you think about renting?
For what other things are we renting?
Yeah, what else?
Kayaks and canoes. We're doing the prototype for that right now, which will integrate the Smart Locker system.
Okay.
So to kind of keep the R&D down for now and do our proof of concept.
So is there tracking on the higher cost device? I mean, who cares if the basketball gets stolen, but if a kayak gets stolen, it's kind of expensive. So how do you track all that?
And, that's a pain point with the model, right? Just like anything else that you can rent,
Sure.
there's the chance of loss. So there are things out there that you can do to track. Nothing's 100%, nothing's perfect. You kind of have to build in, like, again, if somebody walks off with the basketball, it's different than, hey, I smashed this kayak.
Or the $3,000 electric bicycle that's really expensive.
Correct.
Yeah.
And it's the same model as, the B-cycles in town. Those bikes are not cheap.
No,
they're a couple
not.
grand each, and if somebody breaks them,
Yep.
that's just kind of what happens.
Yeah, okay. So is the branding always Koloni, or can the users of the system have their own brand, a co-brand?
The app is always Koloni.
Yep.
But you can brand the hard good anything you want. We've got bike share systems throughout the country, and almost every single one is branded for that town.
Okay.
If there's a main sponsor, they brand it with the main sponsor.
Sure.
If there's, some community that came together, and like Clinton, Iowa's My Bike.
Okay.
They thought that was a cool name.
All
It's
right.
on all their down tubes, and
Nice.
Yep.
So your name could live on there, but doesn't need to.
Correct.
All right.
Yep.
So what made you and your partner Brian Dewey start Koloni?
Yeah, so Brian started Koloni in 2016.
Oh, okay.
He grew up in Pocahontas, lives there, was working on a trail project for bikes. He wanted to bring bike share to Pocahontas. And he tells the story of, he's like, I pretty much got laughed out of the room. They're like,
bet you did. I bet he did.
Who are you? How big is this town? So
You're
he
counting
kind
the
of,
people in hundreds, not
yeah. So he kind of started piecing together a system of, if I use this off-the-shelf software and this off-the-shelf lock and this bike, how do I put that together? And he quickly realized that doesn't work as well as making your own thing. So he started doing development, brought me in, brought Kyle in, and off we went.
All right. So what is Brian's background, and how did the two of you get started together? Because you've done other things together, I think.
Brian and I haven't done anything else together.
Okay.
We met because I was involved with manufacturing a bike specifically for bike share out of a group out of Iowa State.
Oh,
and
interesting.
Koloni was purchasing our product.
Oh.
And kind of saw like, this probably isn't going to work out, but had built a very good relationship with Brian and their team, and they recruited me over to the other side.
To the other side. Yeah, oh, nice. What's his background?
Brian's background is international sales.
Really?
Yes. And he also started a gym in Pocahontas. He kind of came to it with the idea of like, I want to do this key to the city.
Right.
Like, how do I come home and have the amenities that I have when I'm traveling?
Right.
So he's bootstrapped a couple businesses.
Not his first rodeo.
This is not his first time. This is not my first time.
Nope.
Yeah.
So you and Brian just wrapped up a stint at the Launch Accelerator in San Francisco, which, by the way, congratulations. That's a big deal to get into launch.
Thank you.
So what was that like?
It was interesting. Very, very interesting.
You got to say more than that.
No, I'll get into it. So I was fortunate to go out there a couple times, and I pitched a couple times. Brian went out there. He was out there every week. So the setup of the program is they put you in front of 6 to 10 investors every Thursday or Friday. And you're pitching a 3-minute pitch.
Oh, 3 whole minutes.
3 whole minutes to get through your entire business plan, business model. And it's like we have talked about, like, hey, you got actually 20 seconds. You don't have 3 minutes, right?
Because they'll check out on you.
And you can see you're standing up there and people are just, they start turning their head, they look away. And then they can ask questions after that, and it's to build up that investor contact. It's the entire point of the Accelerator. It's not a Techstars. It's not, a Y Combinator. There's not a lot of external mentorship that goes into it. Right. This is, hey, we're going to teach you how to fundraise. We're going to get you in front of people so you can close your next round.
And you're going to get a lot of practice.
And you're going to pitch like crazy.
Yeah, because that is a big deal. I can't overestimate how much it is to practice pitching.
Yeah.
As you know, I teach a seminar with Therese Flynn on raising capital, and it's the thing that we can't get people to understand is you may have to pitch 400 or 500 times to raise that money.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And you better learn.
Yeah, it was great. The contacts that we gathered through that, and then the continual contacts that we get, that Brian's continuously communicating with Jason, their managing director, of, hey, we found this person, we think they'll fit your thesis. Like, you should talk to this person, just constant.
So tell us more about who Jason is. I happen to know, but say
so there's 2 Jasons. There's Jay Cal, the actual investor, and then Jason DeMont, who runs the program. And DeMont's the one that gets you in contact with everybody.
He's an interesting guy.
He's a fascinating individual. I mean, you stand up there, and you'll do your pitch, and I'll be like, yeah, that's good. And then he'll cut you off, and he'll redo your pitch, and it was better than anything you've ever done. And he's heard like 5 minutes of what you're doing with your business. And that's because
he's listened to 100,000 pitches in his life.
It's because he's done it for years and years, and has made,
a couple dollars.
A little bit of money off of doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because he's got a lot of irons in the fire. Not only does he have this launch accelerator, but he's a well-known angel investor, early stage investor. And he was one of the original fund managers out on AngelList. When AngelList first got started, he was big in AngelList, and he's actually spun away from AngelList and has his own deal going now. And their goal is to do 100 deals a year.
Are you talking about the syndicate?
The syndicate.
Yeah.
100 syndicated deals a year. And I happen to be, I get the emails and I invest once in a while, but it's like, do you know how much work it is? Because these are not simple. 100 of these a year, it's just like gunfire coming in. It doesn't stop. It's just amazing what all he does. So, besides Jason, who was the most interesting person you met out there, and why?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because I know Jason's interesting.
Jason's interesting. Get to pitch at Sequoia. That was interesting.
Yeah. What was that like? I mean, Sequoia's a big name.
Sequoia's a big name, and it was definitely, they did it because it was part of the program. Otherwise, they're not going to be talking to us.
Right.
But the feedback that they gave with the locker system was pretty fascinating. So.
As in positive or negative?
Very positive.
Okay.
Very positive.
So you found something that rang their bell a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's because it's something that multiple companies and people have tried to do, and it's never worked out correctly for a various number of reasons.
And I suppose they know a lot about why those didn't work out.
They do.
So you got, without getting into it, you got to hear a lot of the stories.
Yeah.
It's nice because a lot of investors, I mean, Sequoia is pretty well known and they don't have a lot of time, but it's one of the things you can get out of a pitch that you don't get money, is you need to listen really carefully, because a lot of times what you get is really good feedback, great feedback and advice. I think it's one of the things that bothers me sometimes when we'll get people come in and pitch our group, or somebody will pitch me, and it's like, I'm giving them this feedback, and it's like they're just mad because I didn't just say yes to begin with. It's like, you're getting something more than the little bit of money I'd ever put in your deal.
Right.
But they don't listen.
Right. Just being able to be around the other teams.
Yeah. Can you talk at all about who else was out there? I'm just kind of curious.
An educational startup called Dexter.
Okay.
I bet you'll hear about them eventually.
Okay.
They're kind of changing the education model.
Interesting.
No grade levels, no teachers, self-guided.
Wow.
There's been a couple other companies that have tried it. They're doing it a little different.
Okay.
A couple of real estate, sales, AI-focused companies.
There's a lot of real estate tech out there right now. In fact, we're having Stephen Brockshus from Farmland Finder,
Oh,
who's
yeah.
in that space
Yep.
and has a very unique play. I won't ruin the story on that one, but there's a lot of that going on right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's a company up in Ames that Seed Capital is invested in.
I think it's
that
Stevens.
does-
Yeah.
No, this is
Oh, I know you're
structurally.
Structurally, yeah. They're more of the
Yeah,
yeah.
actual like home real estate. Yeah.
Yeah, they're home real
As
estate.
opposed to-
They're the intelligent bot, right?
Right.
Yeah, you're right, that one. I was thinking
Right.
more of the real estate sales piece of farmland. But so you're an attorney by training. How's that helped you in starting Koloni?
It's helped me a lot.
I would think so.
Yeah. Attorneys are trained to problem solve and problem spot.
Yeah.
I think most of my day is spent talking to people, interacting with people, and what are the issues of what is proposed, whether Koloni or anything else that I'm
Right.
doing. Like
Right.
what could possibly go wrong, and how do we need to fix this?
Exactly, because to me, any business has risk and liability in it, and it's one of the things most founders early on forget about or ignore, I think. And as an attorney, my wife has a legal background as a paralegal. You're trained to spot risk and to spot all the ways someone could utilize the law to prove something went wrong. I'm trying to be polite about it, but I got taught early on by my wife, the law has nothing to do with what's right and what's wrong. It has to do with what the law says and how it's been interpreted. So different game. So, I mean, you have to deal with the whole idea of risk and liability.
Yeah. Yeah, and I've got a pretty extensive background in that, and what I've done previously being, general counsel or manufacturing firm was just, you just get used to seeing the same problems. This is a different business, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's hey, here's a barrier. Here's the possible consequences of the 3 different options that we can choose. You just got to choose one.
Right.
Deal with it and course correct if it's a terrible idea.
Well, you're probably saving your company a lot of money because outside attorney fees can get a little bit exciting.
A little spendy.
Little spendy. That's a good way of putting it. And by the way, they're a lot cheaper in Iowa than they are on the West Coast. So
they are.
They're like 1/3, I think, is the rate.
At least.
At least.
Yeah.
Well, you were in San Francisco. They're worse there.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about Seattle. They were about 3x what they are here, but maybe they got higher now.
We had a quote. I did some data privacy. I have an outside counsel for data privacy that's in Seattle, and they were about 2x what it was in Des Moines. But their experience was like, okay, we can definitely justify this because this is all you do.
Well, and it is about how many hours you have to pay for.
Right.
I'll take $800 an hour if it only takes an hour to solve the problem. It's a big problem. I don't care what they charge.
Or if you look at my problem and you say, oh yeah, X, Y, and Z, it's done.
Yeah.
Because you've done it 100 times.
Exactly.
I'll pay for that.
We talk about that when people are raising capital. There are a lot of great attorneys out in this world, and not all of them have raised capital before.
Right.
And done the transactional work behind that. And you don't want to pay someone to learn that. And it's not that they couldn't write a good contract. They can. But if that contract doesn't meet the standards of the industry, not the law, but the industry, like if I don't know, the venture capital group out of New York, Union Square Ventures, sees the previous term sheet, and it's like nothing they've ever seen. They're done. They just walk away. It's like, I don't have time to read all that.
Yeah.
Why aren't you choose standard practice? And if that happens, it can kill a deal. It can kill a company.
I think that's really hard for companies that are starting in Iowa.
It is.
Because you go and you talk to your business attorney.
Right.
And they don't know. They don't see the deal flow. They don't have experience in it. And they don't know. I mean,
and they don't know what they don't know.
Yeah,
they're not being bad humans. They're being good to you. They're trying to solve the problem, but not a clue.
And then, I can read over a deal. I know what I'm looking at, but you wouldn't hire me to be the point of contact to close a deal. That's not my expertise. That's not the area that I play in. Yeah,
exactly. I mean, to me, I always use the example of a doctor. If I'm talking to a podiatrist, I really don't want to talk about brain surgery, okay? I mean, they're talented people on both sides, but they're different things. They understand the structure, but that doesn't mean they can get in there and do the work. So.
I think the legal industry is ready for a shakeup when it comes to picking attorneys and having, matches with people.
It's the power of a little bit bigger firm, right? I mean, if you get into the right kind of firm, you'll find they have a lot of the pieces and parts. And to me, the simple question is, how many of these have you done in the past?
Yeah.
Look just like this.
But you're going to pay for it. And if you're a small startup, you can't afford to do that. So what's happening is you either A, don't have those contacts, or B, don't have the money. So then you are dealing with whoever your business attorney is, who maybe, like you said, is, hey, they're out there trying to do good, but they're just not the right fit. And then you got to deal with that for years to come to clean that up.
I know, but there's a gentleman that's, you don't see him as much around anymore, but out of the valley, named Guy Kawasaki.
Yeah.
The guy was the first product manager.
I've read his book.
Right?
Yeah.
He started a company back in when the first some news aggregators were going. He did this thing, and he was talking about it on social media, on his blog, about, I'm going to start a company with as little money as humanly possible. And he documented it on his blog, and he started a news aggregator, right? When he got all done, he listed all the expenses, and people just unloaded on him because 60% of the expenses of the company were legal. And people were just shooting arrows at him. How stupid is that?
Yeah.
He said, no, you guys are being stupid. If this thing actually ends up being worth anything at all, the only thing that makes sure I get some money out of this is the legal. And it just, the silence was deafening. And I tell that to people. It's like, you can't not spend some of that money. There are some law firms in town that will handle a startup at cost. They don't advertise it, but some will do it at cost or below, just to hope that if you make it, there's a whole lot more business coming.
Well, and at C2, the company I helped start a decade ago, we ran into some IP issues early on. The point where it was like, hey, if we don't make it, the bank's going to take our house and everything we own. And we found, Scott Johnson at MBS randomly called him up, or maybe somebody introduced us. And he did, now I look back on it, it's like he did so much legal work for us at such a low rate because he believed that the company was going to succeed and that he would get our business for the next 10 years. And it did, and he did.
And there are a lot of, I will say, and it's one nice thing about being in Des Moines, there's a lot of firms that think that way. If they believe in what you do, they'll make an investment. I mean, it's great.
I mean, the company would not, it was a game-stopping IP issue that if you wouldn't have had somebody who knew what they were doing to figure it out, wouldn't be here.
So for most people, we're talking about raising capital. Raising capital is a new experience. You've got a background in this area. You're a manager at the Ames Seed Capital, correct?
Correct.
So what does that mean? How does that help you with raising capital?
It doesn't.
It doesn't? Say more. Now I really want to know more.
That's an incredibly privileged answer for me to say it doesn't. But it doesn't teach you how to pitch. It doesn't teach you how to pair the right investor with what you're trying to do.
Yeah, most people miss that.
And most people don't have that opportunity. I think it's fascinating. You get on Twitter and you talk to people and they say, well, you need to choose your investment team. Well, not everyone has that opportunity.
Yeah, we're not all in the valley.
Exactly. You got to take the money where it comes from. So I say it doesn't, in that it doesn't help kind of, I don't know, tell your story, close out the round, get you in front of people, because Ames Seed Cap is awesome. It is a fantastic group. But
they do very well.
We are focused on the central Iowa region. Our thesis is you have a connection and you're going to make an economic impact in the central Iowa region. That's something I personally believe in very strongly.
I do too.
I want to bring jobs to the area.
Right.
I know there are jobs here, but let's bring quality jobs with really cool tech and companies that are kind of changing things. Exactly. And that it's great, but it's not going to help me get introduced to people on the coast.
Yeah, and that's, I think that I'm kind of amazed by the number of people that will say to me, I'm going to raise my money in Iowa. And I try not to laugh, because unless you know a lot of people in Iowa with big checkbooks that believe in what you're doing, Iowa is less than 1% of the United States population as a population base. It's way less than 1% of the number of investors. And the amount those investors invest is microscopic compared to the average investor on the West Coast. So it's like you're basically saying, I'm going to reduce a swimming pool into a teacup of water. And I'm going to only pick from the teacup. It's like you're going to, you're going to die. You're going to die of thirst. You can't get there. It's just amazing.
So Ames Seed Cap is great in that I get to see really good companies. I get to, help shepherd those decisions and read different term sheets all the time. Hey, what are people putting together around here?
Right.
How are people doing their valuations locally?
Yep.
Who's leading?
Yep.
Who are the local people that are putting money,
Right.
big money into
Yeah, and there's
certain
been,
deals?
you guys have handled some deals that'll remain nameless that have some big money in them.
That's, yeah, absolutely
There's
right.
it's amazing, and it can't be talked about too much publicly, but there are some companies raising some really large dollars in Iowa with a lot of leads in Iowa, which is really refreshing, because I got to tell you, 4 years ago, that was not the case as far as I knew. Those levels of leads just weren't there.
Yeah, and compound that with Koloni's set in a town of a couple thousand people.
Right, right.
I think I did the math. I went on Clay and Milk one day and added up all the dollars that were spent outside of what I would consider like a metro area.
Right.
Des Moines, Dubuque,
Mm-hmm.
Coralville, Iowa City area. And it was like $80,000 one year.
Yeah,
$80K
that's it.
out of $100 million.
Yep.
My numbers could be totally.
No,
I'm
but
not
it's
remembering correctly, but
probably
it's pretty
about
close
right.
to that. And then the next year it was maybe $1 million or $2 million
Mm-hmm.
out of however many tens of millions of dollars.
So what's next for Koloni?
What's next for Koloni? We're raising our round.
Yeah.
Brian's working hard on getting that done.
So that's his full-time job right now.
That's his full-time job. He is out there taking calls, meeting with investors, and getting the smart locker done.
Okay.
That's what we're focused on right
How's
now.
the raising capital round going? How's the capital going?
It's pretty good.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk much about specifics, or do you want to stay out of it? It's up to you. I know this. We didn't have this in our notes beforehand.
Well, I'm
but-
trying to think. So we raised 365, and you and I have talked, and we stopped. We were going to raise 500, and
Right.
we stopped at 365.
Yep. And that was kind of the
We had-
pre-seed money.
It was the
early-
pre-seed money. We had
Yep.
started launch, and we're like, we can't. Brian's like, I can't do launch and try to raise
No,
more
you can't.
money. It's
you better,
not going to work.
It's full-time. No matter how much money you're raising, it gets to be full-time.
So we stopped there, and we're like, hey, our runway's good with our continual sales and paying our employees. We're comfortable with the amount of runway that we have right now. Let's just move
because you do
on
have
to
revenue
the-
coming in.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, we'll do. If we didn't have revenue, we'd be in
Yeah.
a different situation.
Well, there's a
than
lot to be
right
said
now.
for early revenue. There's a lot to be said. Traction, survivability. Yeah.
Yeah.
So going forward, you're going to raise another round, a little
Yep.
bit larger round, I assume.
Couple million.
Couple million. And then it's go national. I mean, you're kind of national already, but is it just throw fuel on the fire? Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, with the money that we raise, we'll to accelerate sales.
Okay. So
To really prove out the product and get it out there
Yeah.
in different locations, different verticals. Right now, it's one salesperson,
Right.
and you're limited in who you can talk to and how much you
Sure.
can get done. And we really think that's hampering the amount of product we can
Off
get
the
out
top
the
of
door.
the head, how many systems do you think you have out there right now?
We've got around 30.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
30
of
independent systems.
various different.
No, but I think that's great, because it means you've done more than, it's sample size, right? If you've done 5, it's not a very good sample size. 30 is not bad for this kind of system.
Yeah, I
You've
think
seen
we're-
a lot of stuff.
We're in. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I think we're in 5 states right now
Okay.
with about 30 systems.
There's a lot of small towns taking advantage of this.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
A good chunk of 25,000 to 100,000 size towns.
There's a lot of Chamber of Alliance associations that love to have you speak at their alliance meeting and tell all these small towns that story. It's fascinating. It's so hard for small towns to set themselves apart in any way or create these attractions. And they don't have zero money. They just don't have big money.
Right.
And things like this with people that want to ride on trails and want to go for a bike, I mean, it's pretty compelling. There's some beautiful cities all over the Midwest.
The economic
Small towns.
empowerment angle of what we're doing is, you can see it. You can see it in the management software where you look at a bike starts here and it ends here.
Oh, yeah.
And
I never even thought about that.
Kyle picks up the phone and is like, hey, what's this line?
Mm-hmm.
They're going from bar to bar, or they're going from grocery store to apartment complex
Yeah.
or coffee shop.
Yeah.
You can see those businesses that people are stopping at.
And do the people that own your systems, like in a small town, can they see that
They
data?
can see that too.
So they're getting real
Yeah.
data. That's
Yeah.
crazy. They'd never get anything near that for their business.
And then they can use
their
that,
city.
and they go out, and we just launched in-app advertising.
Oh, sure.
So if you want to sell advertising locally,
Perfect.
You know.
Rent the bike.
Yep.
You're on the trail. The ad pops up, says brewery.
Yep, exactly.
Or restaurant.
Or coffee shop.
Coffee shop, yeah, exactly.
Hey, 50 cents off Joe's Coffee.
Show them the screen.
Yep.
Wow. Well, Caitlin, thank you for being on Startup Stories.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Thanks for listening to the Small Business and Startup Stories DSM podcast. Inspired by these stories, we offer a hub full of resources needed for any small business owner to grow and succeed in Greater Des Moines, Iowa at dsmpartnership.com/smallbusiness. Thanks for listening.